Hey guys, it's Greg. I am going to do a playthrough now of the Lord of the Rings card game. I'm going to, obviously I'm playing solo. I'm going to just do the introductory quest. This is as much as it is for me to just get back into the game and try to refresh my memory on how to play it as it is anything else. So I guess I'll start off by showing you guys what it is I'm going to be playing. There it is. That is Flies and Spiders, and now I'll read it. So this is Passage Through Mirkwood is the name of the scenario. Flies and Spiders is the stage. You always start with 1A, and then you'll flip it over after you do the setup. So here's the scenario text. You are traveling through Mirkwood Forest, carrying an urgent message from King Thranduil to Lady Galadriel of Lorien. As you move along the dark trail, the spiders gather around you. So I now do the setup, which is search the encounter deck, which is this deck right here. Search the encounter deck for one copy of Forest Spider and one copy of the Old Forest Road and add them to the staging area, then shuffle the encounter deck. So I've already done that. Just give you guys a quick peek at what this is. Okay, so this has a threat of 25. It has... Actually, that's a good point. I think that it has... So this right here is the, I guess, the encounter chance. This right here is how much threat needs to be overcome. This right here is the attack, this is the defense, this is the hit points, and we have Forest Spider, Creature Spider. Forest. After Forest Spider engages a player, it gets +1 attack until the end of the round. So that will be quite challenging to deal with. And then Old Forest Road. This is a location card, as you can see. And so it is one threat. So it is one threat. So when it is in the staging area, it will contribute that to what we have going on there. It costs, or it has a 3 for how much progress it takes to explore it. It is a forest, and it says response. After you travel to Old Forest Road, the first player may choose and ready one character he controls. And the flavor text says, Beorn had warned them that that way was now often used by the goblins, while the forest road itself, he had heard, was overgrown and disused at the eastern end and led to impassable marshes where the paths had long been lost. This is from The Hobbit. So this is our location that we're starting with. It has not been traveled to. It's just kind of hanging out there, and that's the threat. Okay, and so now I'm using the starter deck for the leaderships. So here is Aragorn. Just kind of talk about this again. He has a threat of 12. He has 2 willpower, 3 attack, 2 defense, 5 hit points. He is a Dunedain, a noble, and a ranger. He has Sentinel, which means that he can attack someone or an enemy that is engaged with another player. Doesn't really apply to this game because I'm just playing solo. Response. After Aragorn commits to a quest, spend 1 resource from his resource pool to ready him. And the text says, I am Aragorn, son of Arathorn, and if by my life or death I can serve you, I will. From the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. Here's Theodred. There is 8 threat, 1 willpower, 2 attack, 1 defense, 4 hit points, noble, Rohan, warrior. Response. After Theodred commits to a quest, choose a hero committed to the quest. Add 1 resource to that resource's pool. So that's pretty awesome. And last we have Glowin. 9 threat, 2 willpower, 2 attack, 1 defense, 4 hit points. He is a dwarf and a noble. Response. After Glowin suffers damage, add 1 resource to his resource pool for each point of damage he just suffered. His beard, very long and forked, was white, nearly as white as the snow-white cloth of his garments. Interesting flavor text for him. Okay, so I'm using, like I said, I'm using the leadership deck, and I'm just kind of doing that based on my probably misinformed stance that the leadership sphere is kind of balanced. It's about questing and it's about attacking. So, yep, that's what we're working with. So I believe that the first thing I need to do, and I'm going to be referencing the manual quite a bit, I'm pretty sure that the first thing I need to do now is to draw a hand of 6 cards, but I'm just trying to get a confirmation on that. Shuffle my deck. Okay, so 6 cards, and I can mulligan if I want. But before I do anything else, I need to set the threat. So I have 12, 8, and 9. That's 29. I'll go ahead and set the threat tracker for myself. Okay, so I'm starting at 29, and recall, if you end up at 50, you lose the game. You lose the game if your heroes die, you lose the game if you get here, and I believe that there might be some additional things out there that will kind of just force me to lose the game. We'll go ahead and flip this over. All right, so I didn't grab my card in my hand yet. So the nastiest things they saw were the cobwebs, dark, dense cobwebs with threads extraordinarily thick, often stretched from tree to tree or tangled in the lower branches on either side of them. There were none stretched across the path, but whether because some magic kept it clear or for what other reason they could not guess. Look there. So I'm going to need to put 8 progress tokens on this quest card in order to proceed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Start off here. So that is Ever Vigilant. Costs 1 to use. It has to be from the leadership sphere. Thankfully all my heroes are. And the action is choose and ready 1 ally card. So that's pretty good. Then I have Common Cause for 0. Action, exhaust 1 hero you control to choose and ready a different hero. So I suppose that that's good if a forced effect causes me to exhaust something. Although I don't know why I would ever have one that would target a specific character. We'll see. Maybe there's one that says the character with the highest threat, or something like that. Here's another Ever Vigilant. Okay, here's an ally, a Snowborn Scout. Okay, cost 1 to deploy, no willpower, no attack, 1 defense, and 1 hit point. He's a Rohan Scout. Response, after Snowborn Scout enters play, choose a location, place 1 progress token on that location, which is pretty handy. You know, for example, there's the Old Forest Road that I'm going to have to clear out before I'm able to do much, because there's a lot of threat in here. As of right now, the forest spider is going to attack me immediately, so there's that. Another Snowborn Scout. And here for 2, it is for Gondor. For Gondor says, action, until the end of phase, all characters get +1 attack. All Gondor characters also get +1 defense until the end of phase. So, I don't have any Gondor people here. I have Rohan, I have Dunedain, and I have Dwarf. So, that's not really going to help me for that, but for 2 resources, I can get an extra attack, which may be the difference with defeating an enemy or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to get my cards in order, play with them down here. I don't think you guys can see that very clearly, but so be it. I'm going to go ahead, I'm pretty much just having all my tokens together because it just seems like the right thing to do. It doesn't seem to me like I need to keep them very separate. What's going to be an issue for me is going to be the locations and the real estate on this table. But we'll see what I can do to try and keep everything straight. Okay, so my resource phase. Each player adds one resource to each of his or her resource pools. Now, actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to just check if I was supposed to also take resources in that opening setup, which would be an interesting thing. Set up token bank. File scenario, set quest cards, draw setup hand to determine first player. Nope, okay, so I was not supposed to draw an additional one, so I think that we are good to go. So each player adds one resource to his hero's resource pools, which I have done. Now I can use the planning phase, which is I can play allies and attachments. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play 2 Snowborn Scouts. And I'm going to just have them here. I'm going to use from Glowin and Theodred. I want to save one for Aragorn so that he's able to commit to the quest and then return from that. Okay, so because of this, I'm going to place 2 progress tokens on this Old Forest Road, which means that when I travel to it, it is going to end up being much quicker for me to commit. So, or to deal with. I'm not going to add any attachments. I don't actually have any attachments. I simply have some event cards. And let's move on to the quest phase. So I'm going to commit characters to the quest. I'm not... what am I going to do? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to commit all of my characters to the quest. So I'm going to go ahead and exhaust them. So just looking at this here, after Theodred commits to a quest, choose a hero committed to the quest. Add 1 resource to that hero's resource pool. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1 to Aragorn's pool. I probably could have spent, but you know, I don't really need too much on that front right now. But I do have an Ever Vigilant that I can choose to use. Now, response, after Aragorn commits to a quest, spend 1 to ready him. So I'm going to go ahead and spend from his resource pool and ready him. He's now able to be involved in the attacking and in the, you know, the combat and travel phase. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 willpower against 3, which means I get to add 2 progress tokens to flies and spiders. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep them off to the side here, just to not cover things up and lose my place. So I'm going to travel if there's no current active location. So I'm going to travel over here to the Old Forest Road. Now, this is no longer in the staging area, therefore it does not commit. It doesn't cause me to have threat. However, I need to place progress tokens on this location before I'm able to proceed and put more on the quest. This is just a, you know, making sure that I cross all T's, dot all I's kind of move. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Ever Vigilant. Now, you know what, I do have the opportunity to do an action, and I think that's a good idea. Although, I was thinking about playing an Ever Vigilant on Glowin, but I don't really think that I need to. And I simply don't need to because I have these Snowborn Scouts, which have largely served their purpose for me, but they have the next added purpose of they have 1 defense and 1 hit point, so they can absorb an attack. Now the forest spider is pretty weak, so I don't really feel like I need to worry too much about that. You know what? Actually, I am not. I went out of turn. See, this is one of those things you need to be paying attention, and I was not. So I need to now reveal one card from the encounter deck per player. So we have the Dol Guldur Orcs. And for Dol Guldur Orcs, which has a 10 encounter cost, it has 2 threat, 2 attack, no defense, and 3 hit points. When revealed, the first player chooses one character currently committed to the quest. Deal 2 damage to that character, which is kind of ouch. So I'm going to deal that damage to Glowing, because his response is after Glowing attack suffers damage, add 1 resource to his resource pool for each point of damage he suffers. So he's got 4 hit points, and now he's got 2 resources. So we're gonna want to have resources, because we're gonna need to be spending and all this stuff. I am not sure what's in this deck for removing damage. I certainly hope that there is some such from that. This is going to hurt, guys. This is going to hurt. So now I can resolve my questing, and I actually don't get to put those progress tokens on here, because there is 5 versus 5 willpower versus 5 threat, which means it just cancels out and I didn't make any progress. You know, it's a little rough, but it is what it is. So I'm now able to, now that questing has been resolved, I will go ahead and I will move to the travel phase. I will go to the Old Forest. And the response: after you travel to the Old Forest Road, the first player may choose and ready 1 character he controls. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ready Theodred. Wowza. Okay, that's going to be how that goes. Now I'm going to encounter. So I'm going to choose not to engage, because I'm going to have both of these guys are going to come and engage with me anyways, because their encounter costs, or their encounter numbers, are lower than my threat. I have 29. This guy is 25, so we would be going around and taking turns if there were more players. And since he is the highest threat cost or encounter cost here among the enemies, and my threat is higher than that, this one would automatically engage me. And then we just go around until there's no more enemies to add to the fracas, if you were. Now, Forest. After Forest Spider engages a player, it gets +1 attack until the end of the round. That's pretty awful, but it's just going to be the way it goes, unfortunately. So now we do the combat phase. I'm going to deal 1 face-down shadow card to each of these engaged enemies. Okay? I am going to choose... I think I just want to make sure that these guys don't make it through the night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use from Glowing, I'm going to just butcher the pronunciation, I'm sure. But I am going to go ahead and choose Ever Vigilant, which is going to ready him. Oh, I'm sorry, that's an ally card. I don't have an ally that needs to be readied, so I apologize. This is going to be a constant thing. If you guys see me mess up the rules, I apologize. Just go ahead and shout at me in the comments. I won't be able to do anything about that while I'm playing, but I, will learn from it moving forward. Okay, so the first player resolves attacks made by enemies. Okay, so first one that's going to attack is going to be the Forest Spider, and I have to check. I think that the shadow card is revealed after I choose a blocker, but I could be wrong. Okay, so choose an enemy, then declare a defender, then resolve the shadow effect. Okay, so I'm just going to try and figure this out here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to declare this Snowborn Scout as a defender. He goes and he is exhausted. So let's see what kind of shadow effect this is. There is a shadow effect. It's another forest spider, and this shadow effect, as you can see down there, is defending player must choose and discard one attachment he controls. I don't have any attachments, so that's not going to cause me any issues. So this has a, well actually this is going to be discarded at the end of the round. So the forest spider has 3 attack, and this Snowborn Scout has 1 defense, so it would take 2 damage, and as it only has 1 health point, it is going to be discarded. So I'll go ahead and just, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do that, but I'm going to anyways, just so I can make sure that I keep things straight. So I'm going to discard the shadow card for that. Now the Dol Guldur Orcs, which was again deal 2 damage to that player, so Glowin is going to be, he already took the damage. So I'm going to choose, he's attacking, he's going to defend, the other Snowborn Scout, currently at 2 attack, and let's see what the shadow is. There is no shadow, this is a forest gate, so no effect from that. So now, I have the opportunity to attack these guys, and what I'm going to do, let's just go ahead and do this, I'm going to think about this a little bit. Neither has the opportunity to kill the other, to kill the opponent right now. However, what I'm going to do is just this again. This is probably something that is going to come back to bite me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit Aragorn, who will attack the Dol Guldur Orcs. So he has 3 attack. He has no defense. So he would take 3 wounds. 1, 2, 3. 3 wounds. And that is enough to kill him, so he gets discarded. And then Theodred is going to attack the forest spider. He has 2 attack compared to 1 defense, so the forest spider takes 1 damage. He has 4 health, so he remains alive. Okay, and so now that is the first round. Oh, I'm sorry, this Snowborn Scout is gone as well because he was decimated with his 1 hit point. Okay, so that is everything for that. Now I'm going to do the refresh phase, which is, you know, just kind of taking a breather, kind of getting back together. So all of my cards refresh, they ready. I raise my threat by 1, which is, you know, a little bit rough because we started off at 29 and we're going to, you know, we're going to 50. Yeah. Oh, I was supposed to draw an extra card. Oh. Well, you know, I missed it, and that's just too bad for me. Now, this is also where I would pass the first player token to someone else, but I'm not doing that right now because I'm just playing by myself. So, start the next turn. We are going to add resources to my heroes. Take a card. Okay, awesome. This is a Longbeard Orc Slayer, Dwarf Warrior. I'll go ahead and show this off to you fine folks at home. So for 4 resources, he has no willpower, 2 attack, 1 defense, 3 hit points. He's a Dwarf Warrior. Response: after Longbeard Orc Slayer enters play, deal 1 damage to each orc enemy in play. Now I don't have any orcs out right now, so I'm going to be very strategic about this. It would be nice to have an extra 2 damage going out there, but right now I think I'm just gonna sit pat. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and move on. Yeah. So I drew my card. I put resources down. Planning phase, I'm not going to play any cards right now. Quest phase, I'm going to commit characters to the quest, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to commit all... Well, this is tricky. This is tricky. So if I don't have enough allies and heroes to go against the forest spider, then I'm not going to be able to do any attacks or defend. If I defend, the attack is going to just say his attack is 2, and I'm just going to have to assign the damage, which is going to be pretty taxing. You know, I only have so much health, and again, I haven't come across any cards that will help me. So I really, by not drawing the card the first turn, that just really limits me. And you know, that's on me. I should have been paying attention. I should have been more well versed in the game before I tried this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to commit to the quest. So I'm going to commit Aragorn and I'm going to commit Theodred. Okay. So response is I can add 1 to Aragorn's pile because of Theodred, and I'm going to just spend it, and I'm going to ready Aragorn. Now I really have to be careful as to how I'm going to proceed. I have to be very careful with how I'm going to proceed. So that's 3 willpower. Now I reveal my encounter card, which is another Dol Guldur Orcs. Revealed, player chooses 1 character currently committed to the quest and deal 2 damage to that character. So that's pretty rotten. I think they're going on Theodred. You know, this is another one of those things that it's probably not in my best interest, but I just have an interest in keeping Aragorn alive. I think that is a pretty important thing. Huh. Yeah. I'm hurting, guys. I'm hurting. Well, let's go ahead. So, ooh, this is going to be rotten. So now there's 4 against 3, which means I take 1 threat. I didn't have enough to overcome the threat of this, so I'm not making any progress. I'm not making any progress toward the Old Forest Road or the quest. This, I think, is going to be a pretty short game. I think I'm going to get I'm going to get just destroyed. Resolving questing. Questing is all done. I can now travel if there is no current active location. There is an active location, and I don't have anything to travel to anyways. So now I'm going to encounter. This encounters me because it's, you know, below my threat level, and the forest spider is already engaged. So now I am going to deal a shadow card to both of these enemies, and these shadow cards are potentially devastating, and now you can see why I said previously that this is just a very, very challenging game, and it's one of those things where I'm going to be hurting throughout. Whew. Okay, I'm now going to have the enemies attack. The forest spider is going to attack, and I don't want to risk Glowin going down yet. So I'm going to have the forest spider is going to attack Aragorn. Ouch, I really needed some allies. So let's go ahead and figure out what the shadow effect is. Okay, we got the hammer horns, and I just know that this is going to be really painful. Shadow, deal 1 damage to each character the defending player controls. Deal 2 damage instead if this attack is undefended. It is not undefended, which is good. However, I'm going to lose Glowin. 1, 2, 3, 1. I hope I'm not messing things up. I think I just messed things up pretty bad. Okay. You know, I apologize to the viewers at home if I have just messed things up. Now, I can't afford not to, I can't afford to let this attack go undefended. This is going to be discarded. I can't afford to let this attack go undefended. I have to just, the Dol Guldur orcs are going to attack, they're going to attack, and Glowin is going to be the defender, and he's going to die. Let's see what the shadow effect is. There is no shadow effect. This is Enchanted Stream as a location, no shadow effect, as you can see. So that's going to be discarded. Dol Guldur orcs do 2 damage. He's got 1 defense, which is going to be 1 damage. Glowin is going to the thereafter. That's too bad. I'm just going to keep these in a separate discard pile so I don't have to go fishing for them later on, but he is out of the game, which means his resources go away. And that's pretty rough. I don't have any allies. I don't have anyone to attack with, which means we're going to go on to the refresh phase. Ouch, guys. Ouch. Raise my threat level. Whew. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add resources to these pools, draw a card, see what we got. Okay, this is a Silver Load Archer. And also, I already said this, but the art in this game is just bonkers. It's really, really nice. So this Silver Load Archer is 3 to deploy, 1 willpower, 2 attack, 0 defense, and 1 hit point. It has ranged. It is an archer. It is Sylvan. Ranged means that I can attack something, or I can attack someone who is... Okay, I think I said it backwards for Aragorn. Because he has Sentinel, he is able to absorb an attack with someone attacking another player. And this is ranged, which is he can attack someone that is engaged with another player, which, you know, is irrelevant for this game. Now, I think I need to deploy this Silver Load Archer because I'm hurting real bad. I don't think I might not last through this round. Wow. So there's my 3. I'm hurting, guys. I'm hurting. Okay, so my planning phase was I just played this. I don't have any attachments or anything like that. Commit to the quest. I'm going to commit Aragorn to the quest because I need to absorb some of this threat. So he's got 2 willpower. I'm going to ready him. I'm going to need him later on. And let's see what the encounter card is. Oh my, this is Dol Guldur Beastmaster. $35 engage cost or level. I don't know what that word is. I should probably look that up. 2 threat, 3 attack, 1 defense, 5 hit points. He's a Dol Guldur orc. And the forced is after Dol Guldur Beastmaster attacks, deal it 1 additional shadow card. Oh my. Oh my. So I have 2 willpower against 6 threat, which means I'm going to take on 4 threat. I'm up to 36. This is not going well for the good guys. This is not going well at all. I'll have to look into Ever Vigilant and see if that was a misprint and maybe there's a clarification that the card should say choose and ready 1 character, perhaps, so that I can ready a hero if need be. Alright, I'm not traveling. I wasn't able to quest. I took a bunch of threat, or I wasn't able to make any progress, and so forth. Now, oh boy, this is gonna hurt real bad. Well, now I go ahead and I deal shadow cards, which goes in the order of the threat level, or the encounter level, because we're moving on to the combat phase. I didn't need to do any encounter checks. This guy became encountered with me, and that's, my threat is too high, and it's just not going to go well. So the Dol Guldur Beastmaster is going to attack, and I'm going to have the Silverlode Archer as the defender. So after it attacks, deal 1 additional shadow card. So that's going to hurt real bad. So before I do that, so just make sure I resolve the attacks made by, so that's the attacker, there's that. So I guess it's a little awkward, but I think I'm doing this the right way. I'm supposed to add another shadow card, and we have nothing from the original one. This was a Caught in a Web event, or treachery I should say, and the second one is the Dol Guldur Orcs, and attacking enemy gets +1 attack, +2, yes, +3 attack if it's undefended. Thankfully, it is not undefended. So, he gets +1 attack. He's got 4 attack against 0 defense, so bye-bye, Silverlode Archer. That attack is done. Forest Spider and Dol Guldur Orcs, I guess it doesn't matter too terribly much who's going to defend whom. I guess I'll roll the die and say, let's go ahead and have the... It's which one is going to have the more devastating... I mean, Theodred is going to die either way. I can't do anything about that. So I'll have him go against a Forest Spider and... Let's see. Okay, so Forest Spider is going to attack Theodred. He's already got two attack versus 1 defense. Unless this is the nicest shadow card ever, he's going to die. Oh, good. Ungoliant Spawn. His shadow is raise defender's threat by 4, raise defending threat by 8 instead if it's undefended. So that's just awful. Raise this by 4. I'm going all the way up to 40. Oh my goodness. So Theodred's dead. Put these over here. Keep you over here. Ungoliant Spawn goes into the discard pile. And now we're going to have the Dol Guldur Orcs attack Aragorn. 2 defense, 2 attack. Hopefully there's not going to be any additional attack bonus. And there isn't. This is the Necromancer's Pass location, and there is no shadow effect. Okay, so I survived that round. Go ahead and bring up Aragorn. There's no way I'm not going to survive the next round because I can't clear out those enemies, and even if I bring in the Longbeard Orc Slayer, it's just going to add 1 to each of these, and I can't do anything about that. So I'll just go ahead and take my medicine, raise my threat by 1. There's 41. Add a resource to Aragorn's pool. Draw my card, which is a Faramir. Go ahead and show that. 4 to deploy, 2 willpower, 1 attack, 2 defense, 3 life. He's Gondor Noble Ranger. Action, exhaust Faramir to choose a player. Each character controlled by that player gets +1 until the end of phase, which would be fantastic. But this has just gone south very quickly. I'm not going to bother spending anything. I'm not going to bother doing anything. I have 2 resources for Aragorn, and I don't have anything that I can buy that will be useful. Planning phase, I'm not spending anything. Quest phase, I'm going to commit no characters to the quest. I reveal an encounter card, which is the East Blight Patrol. There's another attacker, another orc, and he's got a 5 engagement cost, 3 threat, 3 attack, 1 defense, 2 hit points. So 2, 4, 6, 9 threat, and that's all she wrote, folks. That's all she wrote. That puts me up to 50, which means I lose the game. That's rough. That's rough. I guess that's part of the fun of the game is having the challenge. It seems like it's much easier if you have multiple players, so you don't have, you know, a wall of enemies just coming and killing you. There's, you know, again, I'm just using the starter pack, so maybe if I were to mix and match, I could make a stronger deck, you know, using 2 spheres of influence, you know, maybe have some, maybe if I was to go with the spirit deck and the tactics deck, it would be a little bit more balanced even than the leadership, and just have more to draw from, because again, the spirit is, they are just all about willpower, they're about questing, they're about, you know, carrying on even in the face of the most treacherous danger out there. And then the tactics deck is all about slaying orcs. So that's that. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope that, you know, don't get too turned off by the fact that this is just killing me. It's just kicking my butt. I'm obviously not in there to. I'm definitely not going to be going to any world championships and placing. I'm simply not good enough. I don't think strategically enough for that. So I'm just kind of I'm a noob, and that's the way it is. Check the game out. I hope that it is something that you are interested in trying out, and I hope that this sparks excitement in you like it has been for me lately. And I will chat with you guys again soon. See you later.